And as promised, I'm back with a video that will review your course syllabus. So let's get started. This is course COMS 2104, Foundations of Computer Programming 1. We're in the Department of Computer and Information Sciences for fall of 2020. Here we have all these course session numbers because I put all of you into one Blackboard shell. So that's why we list all these session numbers as well as all the CRN numbers that I'm teaching for this course. This course is worth 4 hours of credit, and we will have, for my office hours, we can have WebEx meetings, we can schedule calls, you can do email if you're more comfortable with that, use Skype, Zoom, anything that we decide works between the two of us when you want to talk with me, that's what we'll use. If you email me, please include your name, and in addition, in the subject line, please type in your class information. For example, COMS 2104 TC1 or TC2, so that I know where you belong, so I can find you. Otherwise, I can get confused about what class you're talking about. Now, this semester, I'm teaching 4 courses of programming, so it won't be quite as hard for me to figure out where you belong, but still, it is useful information. We meet online. Our course is going to be asynchronous. That means that you do not have a specific time to meet with me. I will provide instructions on each concept with a video. The good thing about that is you can pause the video and listen to it again. You can skip ahead if you already understand or you've watched it before. You can re-watch. So that's all some positive sides of having videos and having online content of this nature. Assignments will be given to allow you to practice each concept as we discuss it. You need to set a time aside for you to be in, quote, lab, whether that means going to an actual lab on campus or sitting at your computer working through the programs that have been assigned to you. So you need to set that time aside. I'm going to have the same expectation of assignments and completion of assignments that I had when we had actual labs. So, you just need to set the time that you want to work on those labs. I'm also going to have a question and answer, and I'll show that to you in Blackboard, where it's like a forum where you can post questions about how to do certain things if you're confused, and then the other person can give you answers on how to do that. The only rule I have is don't give the actual answer of how you did it, but you can give examples and say, this is how I believe this certain statement will work and how you might be able to use it with your program and how you're doing it. Remember that I can tell when you copy because programming is like art, right? And no two artists will paint a tree exactly the same way. Everyone has their little bit of style differences. So it's easy for a faculty member who teaches programming to be able to tell when students are sharing their work. So be careful of that. This is an art form, so you need to be sure that you're not copy and pasting each other's work. My office hours, naturally it's remote because I'm working from home, but they're from 8:30 to 10:30. I'm going to try to figure out how to use the WebEx meetings and be in there live in case you want to show up in the WebEx meeting and have questions or talk with me somehow, about certain things. If you miss that, just feel free to email me and we'll set up a time to meet and communicate in the way that works between us. Occasionally, I might miss my WebEx office hours, and if that happens, then just know that I probably had some kind of meeting I had to attend with the university, or I had a doctor's appointment or something like that. I'll try to notify you of those changes, but sometimes things come unexpectedly, so just realize that if I'm not there, something has probably happened to prevent me from being there. This is the list of prerequisites for this class, so please realize that you should have had these unless you have permission to go ahead and take the course. The course catalog describes the course as an introduction to foundational concepts of programming using structured programming concepts of C++ as an implementation tool. There are other languages that could be taught for programming, but we happen to use C++. Programming principles covered in lecture are practiced in labs. Major topics include sequential, selection, and iterative control structures, functions, parameter passing, and file processing. Arrays are introduced as a structured data type. So these are the key things for this Programming 1 class. Once again, here is the textbook that is required. So I'm not going to go over that. We've got it posted in several places. You should be able to figure out how to obtain a textbook. You will need a copy of Visual Studio Community Edition. You can get it for free if you use our school's access from Azure. You use your ATU login and password to have access to this, and you simply download it. There are instructions in Blackboard on how to do that under the Start Here or Begin Here location. ATU Corley Labs have a version available for you to use as well. There are no supplemental books that we're going to be using. And of course, naturally, the reason that you need to learn about programming is technically programming is used all over the place, all the time in the current world that you live in, and to have this skill is highly valuable to you. So especially since you're getting a degree in technology of some sort, no matter which one it is, having the ability to use programming helps you understand what's happening under the hood, so to speak, for a computer. You want to be able to understand that. So if you have problems in your organization, you might actually be able to help with those problems. The course objectives, when you finish this course, you should be able to do these things that are listed here. You should be able to solve a problem using a well-structured, well-documented program, okay, using standard control structures. You should be able to use the terms properly. That's why I said key terms are important. Use multiple input-output methods. Explain and use each of the following control structures: sequence, selection, and iteration. We will be going into those. Define and use functions. Declare and manipulate simple strings. Character by character, and test and troubleshoot programs. When it comes to course assignments, I use a total point system, and I divide total points possible into your total points, and that gives me a score. When you use weighted scores, your results are somewhat different, so that's why I make it clear that I use total point basis for my grading process. It's easier for you to comprehend and understand and know what your grade is going to be, and therefore I try to keep that process as simple as possible. Course policies, you're expected to know all the policies in the handbook, so make sure you review those and understand them. The newest version, the 20 and through 21 student handbook, is not available at the time of me making this syllabus and at the time of me creating the video. Therefore, the page numbers that I've listed in here might be slightly different. Make sure you understand the academic integrity policy. This is about cheating, and it could result in you receiving an F. It could ultimately result in you not being allowed to attend school. So make sure you completely understand this policy. As far as conduct goes, it's not quite as intense right now because we are not actually in class, but even in your discussion boards and other ways of communicating with each other, please be considerate, thoughtful, and treat each other just like normal human beings. That's just general practice, and we expect it of each other. Course workload, this is just a summary of how faculty determine how much work to give you, And it's kind of a little bit of a guessing game because it is kind of difficult to know exactly how long it takes someone to do something. So we try to do it ourselves, but naturally we're familiar with it because we created the assignment. So, we have to kind of ballpark it. So just know this gives an example of how we try to figure out how much workload you're currently dealing with for our class. I added the tentative schedule. I call it tentative because things happen and I might get behind or get ahead. So the schedule is not perfect. It will change as we go through the semester, because like I said, things aren't perfect. But I'll try to stick to this schedule as closely as possible, and it gives you an idea of where I'm headed so that we cover the material required for this specific course. We give you approximate exam dates and due dates of certain programming assignments. So that should give you a ballpark at least of what is happening throughout the course. Late assignments, please understand that you lose 20% per day, and then after 3 days you will receive a 0 for a late assignment. On occasion, when things happen that are out of everyone's control, I will extend due dates simply because I understand that sometimes things happen that we can't control. So just know that if I haven't extended the due date, this is my policy and how I deal with late assignments. I do not give extra credit assignments, so please do not ask for any extra credit assignments. Stay constantly on top of your material as we go through the course of the semester. Be sure you're familiar with all related university policies. I have in here who to contact in case you run into problems and need help with living assistance. I mentioned quizzes and or exams are used to ensure you've read the assigned material. It's also to make sure you understand and comprehend what we've been talking about. So, like I said, I use total points possible to determine your final grade. When your online attendance is determined by activity online, logging in and doing things, clicking on things. Blackboard records your activity, and I can see when you were last active in Blackboard, and that's how I will determine your attendance. If I see nothing for 5 consecutive days, I may determine that you're no longer interested, and I might decide to contact people at the university to see if you need to be removed from the course. If you run into technical assistance, please do not ask for my assistance. Contact the ATU help, okay? So if it's Blackboard assistance specifically, you can contact them and go read their webpage. But if you need someone to actually step in and help you, then you need technical support. And you can email campus support, or you can go to their webpage and fill out a ticket. And then student accommodations, if you have any needs like you have vision issues or hearing issues or whatever the situation, you can get help, student accommodations, through this link and get help for that. All right, that's the end of the syllabus. Please be sure you review it a little bit closer at your own pace and make sure that you understand everything that's in the syllabus. Talk to you later.